Want to welcome you guys aboard today. Once again, my name is Joseph James. Thanks for coming in to see me today. It's a Monday morning, and Mondays always have a specific trading strategy, don't they? Every Monday morning we come in a little bit disappointed our weekend went by so fast, and we know that's one of the reasons why Monday mornings are a little bit slow to get started. We have a week of OPEX in front of us every third Friday of the month. The Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of that week are going to be a little bit more challenging. It's called options expiration. If you want me to talk more about that in training today, I'd be happy to. Basically, the third Friday of every month is OPEX Friday, which means we've got to be aware of it. Now, Monday and Tuesday this week, we shouldn't have to worry about that all that much. So Monday, OPEX. Monday is always going to be a day when we have a specific trading strategy. And we remind ourselves on a Monday morning that we have a whole week in front of us. And it's not worth our time and our energy and our stress to go forcing trades too early on a Monday. So that was our plan today. Be patient. Be aware that OPEX is going to sneak in the back door later on this week. And knowing that we had a busy day of news in front of us. We checked our news this morning, and our news calendar this morning, which we go over every Friday in this trade room. Our news calendar this morning quickly reminded us that we had early morning news that was hopefully going to kickstart our day, 10 o'clock and 10:30 news that was going to hopefully keep the good price action going. But we quickly found out that we had some challenges today. One of the challenges we saw right away was we had a little bit of an issue with some CQG data. A lot of our members here use the CQG data. I personally use Zenfire data. I've never really had a problem with either one of those. But today, technology is great when it's working. Sometimes it's going to have some bugs along the way. Today there was a server down on CQG, and of course that resulted in some of our traders not having the connection they needed today. And we're almost ready to blame that as the reason why we had such a slow, sloppy Monday morning. Usually by about 9:30, we're ready to rock and roll. And usually when we see the clues that we got from crude oil this morning, usually it's only a matter of time before we start making some money. And boy, the only person today who made their money was my broker. Every trade I take will have about $4.85 per round turn. So it's going to cost about $20 a trade. And as you can see here, my broker's the one that made the money in the morning session. We still have the afternoon session to trade together, and I'll do a recap for you guys later on that as well. But as you can see here, though, literally made nothing on the first few trades, and literally via slippage made it back. It's a small miracle that I didn't get a full stop today the way the price action looked. I'm going to stay optimistic for the rest of the morning. Now you'll notice all of those were short. Now why would it be short? Let's take a look at the clues we got this morning. And to do that, I'm going to go right back now to my morning prep. Now the morning prep is where we got everything started today. Now, I could open up a chart right now, and I could use a real-time chart, but, then I'd have the benefit of hindsight, and you guys are too smart for that. Hindsight's not going to be a good way to learn. Let's go take a look at what we saw today at 7:45, 8 o'clock, 8:15, when we began our morning together. Let's zoom in real quickly here, and by the way, this chart itself and the notes to this chart were posted on my blog today at 8:15 this morning. We began by seeing overnight lows had failed, never being tested. We saw we had some consolidation, which led to a breakout. We then had a number of these big candlestick wicks, and we knew right away that this most recent candle, just before 9 o'clock, was going to be one of the biggest, most important things we saw this morning. And we said, if the price goes below the overnight highs, we're going to be bearish. If the price stays above the overnight highs, we're going to be bullish. That's all we needed. What happened? Yeah, in comes the real-time chart. Here's the real-time chart. Shortly after we finished that prep this morning, look what happened. Now we see our anticipation of the failure was exactly correct. So we saw right away this morning that we should be bearish. That was the easy part. The hard part now was getting into these trades. And that proved to be a more challenging thing than we were able to profit with today. This does not happen very often, folks. And ultimately, what we knew this morning was open up my 21 range. Again, this was the chart we saw at 7:30 this morning. No hindsight here. This is what we saw this morning. And we knew that we had this price wedge. We knew that the price wedge was going to contain price. Double top up top gave us support. 90.75. So now here we are, we get a range. We're range bound. And before we could even get into a short trade, we found ourselves down at the lows. Guys, what does my strategy say if I find myself at the lows of a wedge? It tells me to not be a seller and to be a buyer. Wait a second, Joe. Didn't we just get a clue telling us to be short? We did, but it still needs to pass that test. We sell at resistance. We don't sell into support. So we find ourselves now all the way down now at the lows of the range. I can't sell into the lows, so all I can do now is wait for a new lower low and then try to get in short with a wave pattern. So I find myself now below 91 even, below 90.75, and you're going to see this is where we start getting our first few trades of the day. As soon as I got in below 90.75, you'll notice that's where we began. We nailed this direction. There was no questions about what was going to go next, what the direction would be. And you can see here, I got the 5 out of it, but was never able to lock up a second profit target. What that basically tells us is that trying to sell, we got new lower lows, but then price kept bouncing so high, almost as if to say, we really don't know what direction this price really wants to go, but since we're going lower, we'll just keep selling off. It was frustrating, it was sloppy and choppy. We knew where the price wanted to go, but for the life of me today, I just couldn't find myself the confidence to use a really wide stop because the personality wasn't very healthy. We knew the price wanted to go lower, but we also know that at the lows of a trading range, we're looking for that short covering rally where we eventually get a chance to buy. And you can see, tried to buy a couple times and couldn't get much out of that one either. Now, I am in a long position right now on the Russell, so I'm going to hold on to this Russell trade here until, as you can see here, we get a final target on the Russell of 823.5 right now. So we've got ourselves some money taken out of the Russell right now. Thank heavens, right? Thank the trading gods for that one, because I was beginning to worry if I had woken up at a different time, right? I mean, I thought for a second there maybe it was still Sunday the way this price action looked today. Now, we get a little bit of questions and answers to do before we break off for members only. We always take time at the end of our morning before we go to members only training to answer all your questions. So guests, here will be your heads up here to make sure you ask those important questions for me. We'll cover them all for you right now. Don't forget, Mondays and Wednesdays, I do public training with our group, with our School of Trade members. We'll do that in a separate trade room. This trade room will remain open all afternoon, and we'll come back after training and we'll finish up making our money today. I would assume with the daylight we've seen so far today, our afternoon session is going to be pretty good. You'll notice that long that we called on crude here is working out just fine right now. All right, the long above 25s. It was getting in above 25s. All right, looking to take some profit on the Russell, looking to buy pullbacks on crude oil over lunch. And if you take it from our members on the NYMEX pit, all of those lazy West Coast traders will be getting into the market shortly here after 11:30. So we are open-minded to keep trading on crude. I want to thank all the trial members for coming out and seeing us today. And